Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into something really concerning that's sweeping through the entertainment world. It's the return of an aesthetic, a look that a lot of us hoped we'd left firmly in the past.
Right, let's just jump straight in with this. This quote from a fan on Reddit pretty much says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures this feeling of unease that's just bubbling up online. And this isn't just one person's opinion. It's a feeling that's echoing all over the place as fans watch their favorite stars changing right in front of them.
So it really does seem like the era of being extremely thin, kind of like the early 2000s, is making a huge comeback. But this isn't just happening in one corner of the world. Nope, it is a global thing, and it's the fans who are usually the first ones to sound the alarm.
And you can see these two trends happening at the exact same time. Over in Hollywood, celebs are showing up on red carpets in outfits that seem specifically chosen to show off these super thin frames. Meanwhile, in the K-pop world, fan communities are just blowing up with worry over idols' health after seeing some pretty drastic physical changes. It just goes to show this isn't a Hollywood problem or a K-pop problem, it's a global aesthetic that's coming back in a big way.
Okay, so what is actually going on here? Why is this happening now? Well, the reasons behind it are way more complicated than just diet and exercise. We're talking about new pharmaceuticals, cosmetic trends, and even some pretty deep theories about our society as a whole.
Let's break it down. People who are really in the know, insiders, cultural commentators, they've pointed to a few key things that are feeding into this shift, and they seem to fall into three main buckets.
So, the explanations really run the gamut. You've got these new medical options that are kind of like a shortcut to being thin, then you have the rise of very specific plastic surgeries, and then there's this really fascinating theory that connects the way we look to the state of the world economy.
First up, and this one's a biggie, is the rise of medications like Ozempic. These drugs were originally made to help people with diabetes, but they have this really powerful side effect: significant weight loss. So, of course, they've become super popular, and there's a ton of speculation that celebrities and maybe even entertainment companies are using them for their artists.
And it's not just drugs. We're also talking about cosmetic procedures. Buccal fat removal has just exploded in popularity. Basically, a surgeon removes fat pads from your cheeks to give you this sharper, more hollowed-out look, which really adds to that frail aesthetic that seems to be so in right now.
Okay, now for the really interesting one. There's this theory floating around that when times are tough, like when the economy's bad and everyone's feeling stressed, beauty standards for women have historically shifted toward a smaller, more delicate look. The idea is that as our collective anxiety goes up, the ideal body literally shrinks. It's a pretty wild and honestly unsettling way to think about it.
But, behind all these trends and theories, there are actual human beings. The pressure on these performers is just immense, and the physical toll it's taking is becoming impossible to look away from.
And it is so important to understand this. While the media tends to focus on female artists, this trend is completely genderless. Male idols are dealing with the exact same intense pressure to be incredibly thin.
I mean, the examples are everywhere you look. Fans were worried sick about aespa's Ningning after a TikTok went viral, and they were shocked when Red Velvet's Joy posted photos where you could clearly see her ribcage. And it's the same for male groups. Fans are talking about how much thinner NCT's Mark and Jaehan look, and everyone was stunned by Jungkook of BTS's weight loss. These concerns are just popping up all over the industry.
This quote from Woo Young of ATEEZ, it's so telling. He said this during a live stream, just casually mentioning that even though he's already lost weight, he wants to lose even more. It just shows you how deeply this mindset is baked into the culture. It's not just accepted, it's the goal.
So you have all this pressure, this constant push to be thinner. But what happens when the body just can't take it anymore? When it gets pushed past its breaking point? Well, the consequences can be incredibly severe, and sometimes terrifyingly public.
The story of the soloist Hyuna is just a perfect and terrifying example. In September, she got brutally body-shamed online for gaining what she called happiness weight. Just a few days after that, she went on Instagram and promised to start a hardcore diet. By early November, she'd lost a lot of weight, and then, shortly after, she collapsed right on stage during a performance.
So yeah, let's just focus on that number, 10 kilograms. That's about 22 pounds in less than 2 months. This was not a gradual thing. It was a fast, drastic weight loss that was directly fueled by public criticism, and it happened right before her body just gave out.
Now, medically, what happened was linked to something called vasovagal syncope. It's a condition that makes you faint because your heart rate and blood pressure suddenly drop. And it can be triggered by stress and made way worse when you're doing intense choreography on an extreme diet. And in a really shocking twist that proves this wasn't just a one-off thing, another huge idol, Chaeyoung from Twice, had to stop all her activities because she was diagnosed with the exact same condition. The pattern here is just alarming.
And before her official diagnosis, you could see the warning signs. Chaeyoung had posted about feeling weak, about needing IV drips just to get nutrients. Her fans immediately put 2 and 2 together, connecting her exhaustion with her obvious weight loss. It was like watching a crisis unfold in slow motion, right up until the company confirmed what everyone was afraid of.
Look, these stories aren't just sad, isolated incidents. They feel like a real breaking point. They are solid proof that this industry's obsession with one very specific, very extreme body type isn't just unhealthy, it's become actively and dangerously life-threatening.
Which really leaves us with this massive question. When a beauty standard starts leading to people literally collapsing on stage, who's responsible for changing it? Is it the companies, the fans, the media, or is it the entire culture that keeps pushing these impossible standards? It's definitely something we need to think about.